Today I'm going to show you how to make your own mincemeat pie filling. Not really meat, fruit, like the holiday pie. Stay tuned, I'll tell you why. I have always been a fan of mincemeat pies. When I was first married, my mother-in-law used to make them all the time at Thanksgiving and Christmas time, and my stepmother from England used to also make these little mincemeat pie cookies at Christmas time. They're always just part of the holiday for me, and I love the taste of it. And mincemeat, for whatever reason, in the last couple of years, has been amazingly hard to find. If you go to the grocery store, I used to buy the little bottles of mincemeat pie filling, and that's what I would use to make my mincemeat pie for myself. I really love this flavor, and why you would only see it at holidays, and why in the last couple of years I couldn't find it. I went and looked on Amazon, and to buy a little jar of mincemeat pie filling this year was going to cost me about $40. I'm like, what in the heck? So I went on a little bit of a quest, and how silly of me not to realize that you can make it yourself pretty easily. So today we're going to do mincemeat pie filling, and we're going to store it in jars so we can use it later anytime we're ready to, and it's actually really simple. But you know this channel, we're going to do it outside and we're going to smoke it and add a lot of smoky flavor. Let me tell you the ingredients. First things first, let's get our smoker up at about 250 degrees. That's about where we want this. We've got some nice smoke rolling. This is starting to heat up. So let's talk about the ingredients, because this is an area where you can really flex, do what it is you want. We're going to do this with kind of what's readily and easily available. So for fruit, we're going to use these dried cranberries, raisins, and cherries. We need about 1.5 cups of 3 different types of dried berries. Amazingly enough, this is right at 4.5 cups, so it's gonna be perfect. We're gonna use 1 baking apple that we're gonna peel and grate. We're gonna zest an orange and a lemon, and we're gonna juice those as well. For our spices, a little bit of cinnamon. If you have any kind of like pumpkin pie spice mix, really easy to use that. It kind of contains all the things we want: nutmeg, allspice, cloves, cinnamon, right? It's all that good stuff. We're going to use some brown sugar. Best if you can use dark brown sugar, but I didn't have it today. And we're going to be using a stick of butter. Traditionally, this calls for suet, right? Animal fat, essentially. But we're not going to do that with this particular one. Now, mincemeat pie always has an amazing alcoholic component to it. I am going to do mine with this amazing rum. I love this stuff. It's called Old St. Pete. It's brewed in St. Petersburg, Florida. It has this amazingly spicy, sweet texture. It just reminds me of being down in the Caribbean. I love this stuff. There is always a bottle or two in the freezer. You can see you got the frost on it from that. But Old St. Pete, rum and spice, and it just smells absolutely amazing. So let's get started. I'll show you what it is we do with these ingredients. Get ourselves a large bowl for combining this. So let's start with our dried fruit here. Now I just happen to know this, so I'm not going to bother measuring this, but if you were buying individual dried fruits, you'd want about 1.5 cups of cranberries, about 1.5 cups of raisins or sultanas. You might want another 1.5 cups of blueberries or cherries or something like that. That will work just fine, like this. Dried fruit is in there. Now what we're going to do is we are going to peel, and typically what people do with these is they grate them. Got a bad spot in this apple, so I'm just going to cut that out here in a moment. I'll show you how we're going to do this, because I'm being a little bit lazy and I don't want to go get the peeler out of the house. We'll be just fine, don't you worry. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to chop this, but I'm going to chop them nice and small, because I want them to be about the same size as the raisins and the cranberries. All right, with that, we'll drop these right in our bowl. Now what we want to do is we want to zest 1 lemon and 1 orange. And this just gives it an amazing citrus flavor, and because it's zested like this, you won't even see it or feel it in there. You'll just get an amazing flavor from it. What you don't want to do though is you don't want to go all the way down to the white part of the skin. You see here, I'm just getting that bright orange part off, or on the lemon I'll do that with the yellow part. All right. Got our orange zested, and now we're going to do the same with our lemon. Again, we just want to get the yellow part off. Once we start seeing the white, we sort of stop. Now, if you want to do this with lime, you can do that too. Any citrus is good. I just happen to have an orange and a lemon in the fridge. Man, lemon zest smells amazing too. All these flavors are going to go so well together, especially with that amazing Caribbean spiced rum. Now, by the way, that's not traditional, right? Traditionally, this is an English or Irish European dish, and often what you'll find is a brandy or a sherry, or some people will do a bourbon, some will even do a scotch, which surprises me. But I tried this and I was so shocked at how simple this was. By the way, how inexpensive it is. Like, you know, I'm making this amount of it, which is probably the equivalent of 3 of those jars for, I don't know, $8 maybe, $8 or $9, like cheap. All right, now we're gonna juice each of these right into that mix. Now do this over your hand. What you don't want to do is get the seeds in there. So I'm just doing it right over my hand so I can catch those seeds. First one done. Side of this thing was full of seeds. There's another 3. We'll do the same with our orange. Now, if you have one of those little muddlers, by all means use it. I looked all over. I cannot find ours, which tells me either Deb or I used it and we never put it back, because that's not one of those things that kids typically use. So God only knows what we did with that. And the other half of our zested orange. All right, time to add in our spice mixes here. We want about a half a teaspoon or so of cinnamon. Now, I'm not bringing out any measuring cups or spoons out here, so looks like about a half right there. Now, on this spice mix, this just pumpkin pie spice mix, we want about 1 teaspoon. You can see I did not measure that, but that feels like it's probably pretty close. Now, we want about 2/3 of a cup or so of brown sugar. You know what? I'm not even measuring this either. Like I said, this is not an exact thing. I'm going to look at this and say there's a 1/3. And there's a 1/3. Ooh. All right, that might have been a little bit more than 2/3. All right, we also want about a stick of butter. Again, you can use butter, and that's what I'm going to do, as opposed to using suet. I'm just slicing this up because I do want it to be easier to mix in. All right, and now the best part. We do, whew, love the smell of that stuff. Man, it smells so damn good. We actually want about 2/3 of a cup of this as well. I'm gonna go ahead and use a 1 cup measuring cup and just fill it 2/3 of the way. Mainly for the excuse of, oh, golly. Mainly just for the excuse of, I get to have a nice little shot of this stuff and drink it out of a measuring cup. Dang, that stuff is good. Wow. It tastes like being in, I don't know, the British Virgin Islands at a little local distillery. Absolutely amazing. We just want to mix this up. Ideally, we want to let this sit for about an hour or so, typically before you cook it. We want all this butter to melt, but it's not all that important, just that would allow us to mix it a little bit better. It starts to extract some of the juices from this fruit. Butter also becomes liquid, that helps as well. We're gonna let this sit for about an hour, come back out, we're gonna put it in a dish, and we're gonna begin to smoke it. We're just gonna transfer this right into something that we can pop in the smoker real easy. Oh. Makes me want to have a piece of the apple. Oh. It's hard not to want a little bit of the apple soaked in rum. Man. I could eat a bowl of this like it is. All right, I just want to cover this up. We're really doing this just because we want that moisture in there, that moisture from the rum and what comes out of the fruit. By the way, we ran out of tinfoil the other day and we bought this stuff at the dollar store. Do yourself a favor, never buy aluminum foil at the dollar store. Swear to God, this stuff is thinner than this stuff sucks, but it should at least hold in liquid. All right, we're gonna tighten this right up on here. Let's get it popped into that smoker that's sitting at about 250 degrees. Let's put her in. All right, we're sitting right at about 240 degrees. We're gonna pop this up on the top shelf. We don't want it directly on the bottom. We don't want to scorch any of that fruit. The idea here is just to slowly let it soften and absorb all of that rum and the alcohol and the juices that come out of them. So we'll leave this on for anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour and a half. Ideally, I'd like for it to go a full hour and a half, but we'll check it about 45 minutes in. See you back here in a moment for you. I went ahead and put this right up against the back of the house. It is looking like it's going to rain again, and it feels like every day for the last 2 weeks there's been rain possible. So I'm just going to leave this right here, and we should be good. Even if it does rain, it's kind of under the eave of the house. All right, our mincemeat filling has been in the smoker for about an hour and 10 minutes or so. Let me turn around, we'll grab that out. Let's go ahead and put it in some jars and taste test it. All right, we're still at 250 here, so I'm going to go ahead and turn this off. Let's go ahead and pull this out of the smoker. Whew. Smells good. Put this right on our table over here. Pull the camera over, let's show you what it looks like. Now, there's certainly a chance some steam comes out of here, so we want to be very careful opening this. We don't burn ourselves. Ooh. Look at that. Oh man, that really looked pretty darn amazing. I gotta give it a try, but it's hot, hot, hot right now. Now as this cools, it will absorb a little bit more of that liquid, so I'm okay making sure all that liquid makes it into these 2 jars. Now typically what you would do is you would put this in a sterilized mason jar. All you have to do to sterilize a mason jar is put it in boiling water for about 2 minutes, take it back out. This would stay on the shelf for probably a year, no problem, right? No problem. That's without vacuum sealing it even. But I just asked Deb if she'd go ahead and make me a mincemeat pie since we did not have one over the holidays, and she said, sure, I'll be happy to. So I'm just putting them in a couple of these little bowls, and we will have some mincemeat pie. So let's just split this out about halfway between these 2 different bowls here. Over here. Yeah, right here. Hey, do me a favor. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. And if you want to see more like it, subscribe to the channel and click on that little bell notification so you get notified of new videos. Thanks. It must smell good and it must smell sweet because there's flies already flying around out here by them. They're ready to take advantage. All right, I told you I dropped a couple little pieces here, but it just says the holidays. It really does. I love the fact that I can still taste that amazing Caribbean spice from that that rum that I have. Just brings me I don't know, it's a warm, nostalgic feeling. I love it. All right, that's it. We've made our own mincemeat. We have enough for 2 full pies if we were going to do a full-size pie here. Easily enough for that. A lot of times people make little cookies out of them. This wouldn't be bad scooped on a plate next to some ham or something like that either. Like, this seems really, really versatile. Delicious stuff. All right, y'all. Safe and happy grilling. And this was a unique one to grill. How to make your own mincemeat. So no more of this buying that stupid little jar of none such mincemeat pie on Amazon for like $20, $25 to $30. I've seen it at crazy, ridiculous prices, and it's never in my local grocery stores anymore. Bye, y'all. Safe and happy grilling.